Hello, it's cold out again. It flooded last night. Not too bad here. The weather's foul. That's why I'm all bundled up. All right, this is my 60th day. You know, we're a third of the way through the year. I don't believe there's too much doubt if I survive that I'll do this. I'll finish this class. Well, anyway, probably only one video today. Back on verbs. This is something I just want to clean up. Back on verbs. When I told you about the subjunctive mood, I neglected to tell you that the other mood is indicative. I teach. That's indicative. I wish I taught. That would be subjunctive. Anyway, indicative is what you usually think of as verbs are. All right, now the chronological survey, I think it's the 18th section. I pretty much finished the stories of David. He was grief-stricken when his son died. He was not able to finish his temple. But the next king that followed him, it would have been the third king, Solomon. His son Solomon, look at it, similar to Absalom, Solomon. This guy went on, I don't know his story so well. I think he had even more wives than David did. He was fabulously wealthy. He built the temple. Solomon's temple, you'll hear about his temple. And you hear about his wisdom, the wisdom of Solomon. He was supposed to be the wisest man who ever lived. There's a legend, I think, about the idea that he had a ring, King Solomon's ring. And with that ring, he could understand the speech of animals. I don't know that too well, but I know there was a wonderful book written by, I think, Conrad Lorenz called King Solomon's Ring. I think it was called... oh, that's a whole other story. Conrad Lorenz, who began to realize that animals communicated so much. I hadn't better go there. All right, the Queen of Sheba, you hear about her. She came to visit Solomon's court and was dazzled by it. So you hear about Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. I'll tell you this story in just a... Well, I'll tell you the story now. The most famous story about King Solomon's wisdom is when he was confronted with a dilemma. There were two mothers that had both had infant babies, and they shared the same room. And the one mother slept too close to the other, to the baby, I think, and smothered it in the night, and it died. And so she took the other baby. And so they went to Solomon, and the problem was to decide whose baby is this. They didn't have DNA testing then, you know, so how can he figure out who was the right mother? And what Solomon did was he said, well, we'll get a soldier to come out here and lay the baby down there, and we'll just take a sword and chop the baby in half, and then the wind's blowing hard. They will have two halves, and each mother can have half a baby. Seemed right. Well, the one mother said, no, don't do that. It's her baby. She can have the baby. I lied. It's her baby. And then Solomon knew that was the right mother. The one who would give up her baby rather than see her baby get killed. And it displayed his wisdom. He sorted it out. Now, George Frederick Handel, the guy who composed the oratorio Messiah, also Israel in Egypt, he did an oratorio called Solomon, which, unlike Israel and Egypt, I'm not so sure I recommended that. If you could get a chance to hear one time his oratorio Solomon, it's good. My concert choir that sings Baroque music, we have performed it 2 or 3 times. It's good. It shows this almost like a little opera scene. One of the things that's fun about that oratorio is that there are 2 independent choirs that sing back and forth. That's called antiphony when you do that in music. Well, all right, leaving that behind, you go on in the Old Testament now. I'm just flying along here. You run into various prophets, Isaiah, Elijah. I mentioned that Jeremiah, I should have put that up there, Jeremiah, because these are such common names. Jeremiah predicted doom, you know, and ever since then we've got this Jeremiah as a prediction of doom. Daniel, you run into the story of Daniel in the lion's den, a very, very, very common boy's name, Daniel. And you'd run into the story of Esther, a wonderful story. These are, see, I'm not a Sunday school teacher or a biblical scholar. I just realize that there are wonderful stories here, and they're to be found there. Where I'm going to leave Hebrew literature is with the idea of the Babylonian exile and return. There came a point where the Babylonians conquered the Hebrews. They destroyed their temple, made them go to Babylon, and there they lived. In my mind, it was for 75 years. I don't know. But then eventually they were allowed to return when the Persians conquered the Babylonians. If I have this right, the Persians allowed them to go back. But you hear about that Babylonian exile when they were forced to leave their land and got to come back. And with that, I am going to leave them, go over to the Greeks starting next Tuesday, and there will be, until Christmas, when we'll come back to this, when a little Hebrew baby, a little Jewish baby was born. And if the timing is right, that'll be perfect to deal with the Christmas story. All right, Thanksgiving is upon us. This is an American holiday. I like this holiday. It is a very family-oriented holiday. My daughter is coming home. I probably will take it as a holiday. No class until Tuesday. School is off here. Unless I am enjoying teaching this class, and it occurred to me, since I've got some people, apparently many people in Germany are watching this, and they don't have Thanksgiving, I don't believe. And so I don't mean to desert you. So I thought about ripping into another Shakespearean play, watching As You Like It. That would be my choice, and coaching you, guiding you through the watching of As You Like It. I may do that. I'll have to see how the vacation goes. I like Shakespeare. It would be really nice to just kick back and enjoy the wonder of the language. As You Like It is a fun play, and it was done very well fairly recently, directed by Kenneth Branagh. He does not star in it. This is the guy who played Benedict. But it was done very well, so I may do that. All right, the one other thing I want to say, I want to give you a little bit of a pep talk here about what's going on. This may seem hard right now, and this may seem boring. Nouns, verbs, all this stuff. But what we're doing is laying a foundation, or what I'm doing is I'm laying a foundation. I thought of these cathedrals in Europe, these fabulous cathedrals that soar to the heavens. They had to be started by digging in the ground. You know, why are you going down when you want to go up? Well, you have to build a foundation. And I'm using English to show grammar and then syntax to give you a foundation for your study then, subsequent study of other foreign language, of other languages. So stay in there. The hardest part of the year is now over because by now you're used to me, and I think in a way the hardest material is past us now. It becomes more fun. So this is my pep talk. I sure hope that I still see some of you back next Tuesday, and as I say, I just may all of a sudden be putting another video on there and say, well, I'm enjoying As You Like It, and I want to tell you why. But if that doesn't happen, I'll see you next Tuesday. Happy Thanksgiving.